1059 QWiK Rock, Lion Country's rock station. Mark the Shark here, and I am with Danny from Wicked. And Danny, first of all, thanks a lot for joining us today, man.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Super excited to be on.
And now, where are you zooming in from today?
I'm zooming in from Rochester, New York. Actually,
Ah,
on a little bit of a lunch break. It's perfect. Throw on the rock and roll gear and get ready to go with you guys.
got it. And I'm glad too, because New York. I mean, you guys are neighbors to us right here in Pennsylvania, and Rochester. I mean, we're all here in the Northeast. So again, the band is Wicked, and QWiK Rock currently playing a fantastic track right now called Obsession. A little bit about the song, how you wrote it, came up with the idea for the song, videos, and things like that. And we're also going to get a little bit of a background on your band as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Obsession was it was a cool song because of course it's a single, the first single off of an upcoming album we're gonna drop this summer. And we were really looking for this blend of kind of like the classic rock that we love and grew up on, the core of what we love, but always trying to make it modern, right? Like in its own way. That kind of creates the Wicked sound.
Yeah.
And we
I
came
want
off
to, I want to actually, I actually want to hone in on that now. Now that
yeah,
you mentioned about the sound of the band, if you do your research, Wicked is described at times as a glam band, a bit of a reboot or a little bit of a throwback to what people may remember from the 70s and early 80s. Was that the influence? I mean, when you guys were growing up, when you were growing up, is that the influence of music?
absolutely. I mean, we were kids and we saw, bands like Thin Lizzy and the Scorpions on stage, on our YouTube, right? Like, and I think it came from being hockey players, growing up
Yeah.
being hockey players, because you'd always have that music playing when you'd hit the ice, Metallica, Scorps, Motley Crue, all that good stuff, and so then as young kids we're trying to look it up because it's before our time, at least their heydays, those bands. And that really sparked us. We're like, how do we want to put on a show like that, something that is larger than life and entertaining, everything from the clothes to the stage presence and of course the music, right? And it kind of evokes like this good time feel. Not necessarily always like just party rock, but like, look, we got an upbeat vibe to us, even in our heavy songs, and I think that's kind of at the core of our branding.
Yeah. So when Wicked got started, what year, how long ago did you guys put the band together?
Oh man, it's been about a decade.
Oh,
Since my brother Chad Michael, he's our singer and rhythm guitarist, we really kind of started this thing. But back then it took a few years, right? Like, because you got to find the band, you got to find the right people, and you got to get your legs. And I always say, like, if I'm gonna do something, man, I want to I want to put in those hours, I want to pay those dues, and really feel confident that I put the work in, to be able to be proud and stand behind what I'm doing, and
mhm.
and that's what we did over several of those years, is just get out and play.
All right.
Forget putting records out. Just get out and play and learn how to be a band, learn how to record and entertain.
Got it. So were you doing all the typical things, getting out there, playing, clubs, college gigs, outdoor
Damn it. I
festivals,
mean,
things like that?
we even got lucky and, early on, we're able to do like festivals like Rocklahoma down in Pryor, Oklahoma, things like that, right? Like, big shows in New York City, etc. And then it just builds like a snowball, right? Because you're becoming a part of a scene. And that might be like kind of an old concept for people, but something that we hold near and dear because back in the day, you would call it a scene if it was a rock scene or a metal scene, and like-minded people would come together. The scene that we're talking about now is you look out into a crowd from the stage at a Wicked show, and it's not necessarily all rockers visibly, right? Some people look like they're in a rock and roll. Some look like they're punk rockers. Maybe some just have suits and ties on. And I think that's the cool thing about the scene that we're creating is it's this all welcoming scene of people who just want an escape from their day to day to go and see something that's super entertaining and lifts your spirits.
So when did you consciously make a decision as far as, hey, this is what I want to do when I grow up? Were you a young kid? When?
Young kid, probably watching Angus Young on
Mm,
stage in some video, and I was just like, man, I got my first SG guitar, even though I'm the bassist now, and I was like, this is it, man, I got to do this. Like,
uh, so do you remember your now you're obviously you perform with your brother. Do you remember your first live performance where you actually, played in front of a group of people?
it was the Bowery Electric in New York City on the Lower
Oh,
East Side,
okay.
and talk about like, we're upstate boys, right? So we talked about this being close to where you guys are at in PA, and a little bit more rural, right? So we go down for our first show to New York City, and that is like something. It's like all the lights, the hustle and bustle, and these people who at the time we were like, man, look at these rockers. You know what I mean? They live it and breathe it every day, and that's what we want to do. And here we are on stage in front of them. It was pretty surreal.
Just to and I want you to take this as a compliment as well. When we were doing some research on Wicked, there was an old photo that came up of the band, and you guys were all in, your garb and
Yeah.
so forth. And one of the guys here at the radio station was describing what he thought you, looked like, and he said, he's there. It's kind of like you remember that band from the '70s called The Sweet. I'm like,
There you
oh yeah,
go.
yeah. He goes, well, if you took the sweet and like mixed it with Motley Crue, that's kind of like what they what they kind of look like. And when I thought about it, I thought, wow, what a neat comparison because when you do listen to the Wicked record Obsession, you do get that 1970s, 80s vibe. I on QWiK Rock, it was really cool because um I heard the Wicked song, and it was followed right up with a Motley Crue classic, like "Kickstart My Heart." I think it might
Whoa.
have been, and I just sat there and I thought, wow, it's amazing how a relatively brand new song just mixed and meshed so well with a record that we've been listening to now for the last almost 35, 40 years. And
Six man, yeah.
yeah, so the whole cool thing about it is that you're whatever it is that you're doing, your songwriting style. I mean, it is really making you good, and I can see why your crowds have such diversity. When you look out over the crowd and you see that diverse kind of crowd. So, all right, so then growing up, when you guys started the band, were you doing the typical? I mean, were you doing cover tunes and things like that when you were playing out?
So you'll find a really interesting thing about us is we do covers every now and then, throw
Right.
one or two in. We usually do them tastefully for fun. Like right now, we're working on something kind of unique. A little throwback for the late and great Ace Frehley, just
Mm.
as something kind of an homage. But to answer your question, we started this band with a very strong stance on how we were going to approach it with original music,
All right.
and we even like as we kind of made our way through New York and where we live now in Rochester's, we'd even have like these like get together like community seminars with young kids and musicians and stuff and talk about the importance of original music. It's cool. Like you got to love the songs that, people play covers of and all the, the classics. But if you're in this, musical journey to create something and build your own brand and your own kind of, tunes and everything like that,
All right.
we always press like try to find what that formula of yours is. And it might be through learning other people's songs, but go out there, play some original music and get creative. And we really stuck to those guns over the years. And I think you mentioned about songwriting. The big thing for us with that and how to continue to do that is pulling diverse influences. You might look at me with my studded denim jacket and stuff and say like, he probably listens to, like you said, the Sweet or Motley Crue all the time, but it's not necessarily that way. I think as a musician, the best way to be prolific is to open up your influence portfolio, and so whether it be genres or generations, years of musical style, like we're very open in that regard. When it comes into the blender, that's the thing that's going to make it wicked, and its own original song. That's where it all just gets stirred up and created into something new. So.
So talking about songwriting, do you find writing a new song, coming up with ideas, is that an easy process for you, or is it something that, like a lot of people, they really struggle when they write new songs?
I love all the different parts of this process, doing what we do, but that is one of my favorites is songwriting, and for us it's unique because we the four of us boys in the band live together like an old school band. That's another one of those nods to the classic kind of vibe that we bring in, and so it's not like nowadays you'll hear these big bands and they see each other maybe once a year if they go on tour, send some emails of tracks back and forth. We live together. We eat, sleep, breathe this whole thing, the whole process together. Even when we're not working on the band, we're going on vacation or hanging out together or going to see some other music and support. It's just kind of something that came natural. We're very blessed and lucky to have that. And
Right.
so when it comes to songwriting, it's easy to do because we're accessible to each other, and we built a studio in our own house and all this stuff. But I love that process because it's all about influence, right? And I'm not just talking about musical influence. When we go and experience life with each other and go and do things with our lives, those experiences influence us to write. And it's like a bolt of lightning that comes from it. So we always say, like, our best writing comes from when we just got off of some cool trip or some kind of going to see some other band or do something new, learn how to surf or something. So.
Hmm. I saw a statement. It said "Wicked" from Rochester to the Sunset Strip. Do you want to give us an explanation of that statement?
We got some cool things that are boiling up this year, and you know it started last year this time. We went out and we played the House of Blues with Metal Allegiance, in front of thousands of people, and it's right. It's all happening at the same time as the NAMM convention, and we also played at the Metal Hall of Fame. Well, we're going back
Oh,
again this year, and there's just been so much excitement. These New York boys coming out to California, somebody might look at us at first glance and think, we either came from Sweden or California with our blonde hair and everything. But yeah, no, we're headed back out. We've got some shows to play. We're going to be on stage with some of the greats, people, who played in like Quiet Riot and Rat and different things like that. And
wow.
it's really exciting. Our favorite thing is like I said, getting on the road, getting out there and being amongst our community.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and talking about the band, we are talking with Danny from Wicked. Do you want to go ahead and give a shout out and also introduce the other members of Wicked?
Absolutely. We got Chad Michael, my brother, lead singer and rhythm guitarist. We got Scotty V on the lead guitar. I'll tell you what, Scotty, if you ever see him, he is just like all attitude, man. That guy, if he's not doing the blue steel lips or giving you some kind of like sly look, it'd be an odd day. And then of course, our drummer Gunnar Costin, some call him the Thunder Cannons because he
Ah,
just he pounds those drums, man, and talk about you always have like the guys up front, right? And if you see Wicked, you're gonna see the blonde hair, you're gonna see the different versions of outfits and fashion that we put on and all that rock and roll style right up front in the front of the stage, the jumps, the running around. But Gunner holds down what it means to be a drummer and entertain in the back of the stage, and he is just something to watch. I'll tell you, like between the tricks and the moves and all the drum fills and everything, you could just watch him all night.
Yeah. We talked about your first show that Wicked that you remember playing in front of a live audience. What is the most memorable location or memorable show that you remember playing?
I'll tell you what, we just got off a tour last spring with Raven, a band that, really blazed a trail over, God, it's got to be 40 years now. And they were gracious to take us out on a North American tour. And we finished in Mexico City. And I'll tell you something, you want to talk about Beatlemania. The people down there just loved live music and Wicked, of course, right? So, we didn't know what to expect. We got there and we get into the hotel. You couldn't leave the hotel without being surrounded by these crowds of fans that had bootlegs. And I'm telling you, I was laughing like crazy. It was like those Wicked posters and stuff are way better than some of the stuff that we have. Where'd you get that? But it was so cool to see that excitement and then getting on stage in front of them, they already knew the music and could sing along to all the words. It was a trip, man. I'll tell you.
All right. So I know we're building Wicked fans here in central Pennsylvania. What's the best way for fans to find out more about the band? How can they follow Wicked?
The best thing is you can hit our website. It's wickedrockandrollofficial.com or find us on any social media at Wicked Rock and Roll.
All right, you got it. Now, here comes the question. I like to ask everybody that we talk to this same question, and this is going to be real. This is going to be a lot of fun. So here we go. If you, Danny, were stranded on a desert island for the rest of your life, and you could only listen to one album, one CD, one album for the rest of your life, what album would it be and why?
Oh man, this is a tough one. Um, wow. I think it for me, um, I am always torn because I am a super fan of 70s rock.
Hmm.
And yet I have this affinity towards a particular band in the 90s called Third Eye Blind. So
Yes.
this is a tough toss up, but to be kind of hold true to holistically, if it was one album, it would probably be Black Rose from Thin Lizzy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gary Moore's guitar work, along with the crew on that album, is just incredible. And again, there's nothing, and personally, in my opinion, better than Phil Lynotte's like poetic way of writing lyrics and creating these songs and his delivery. And that album kind of for me was a peak, being a lover of Thin Lizzy and their whole catalog. That's always my go-to. So I'd have to pick Black Rose by Thin Lizzy.
I got it. And we'll go ahead and accept that too as a great answer. All right. So Wicked, they hail from Rochester area in the state of New York. Like you'd mentioned, you have an album that's going to drop here in a couple of months. What are your plans as far as I do believe you've got some scheduled engagements and some shows here in Pennsylvania over the next couple of months. I know that we are going to try to put together a show to bring Wicked in, to be able to do a show for our QWiK Rock listeners as well. I think you've got something scheduled in the Harrisburg area, but are there any show dates off the top of your head that you can tell us about now, or
Yeah, I mean,
plans for the tour?
we're going to be going out for a little bit of a run with Vicious Rumors through the Northeast, down through Pennsylvania. Keep a look. That's end of March, so take a look. Check your calendars for that. I know that we're planning some other tour dates coming out into the spring. And then, I'll tell you what, we're working on getting overseas too. Japan and Europe are right between our crosshairs for end of the year going into next year. So, we look forward to seeing everybody. We're going to have a lot of dates this year, making it around the U.S. Before we hopefully get across the pond. So,
Got it.
come out, check it out, see what it's all about.
All right, and we do have a great promotional idea, and I do want you to consider this. If we can bring you to our area and we do a show for our QWiK Rock listeners, what we can do is just add the letter Q to the front of your name, Wicked, and then you could be Quicked.
We got to do it, dude.
All right. So anyway, hey, anything else before we let you go? We're talking with Danny from Wicked. Anything else that you want to add?
There's going to be more singles before the album drops, so
Mhm.
keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. We're excited to have you guys be a part of the Wicked family and have a good time. So thanks for listening, and thanks for enjoying Obsession.
Great. And speaking of the record too, Obsession, when you listen to 1059 Quick Rock, either on the radio or 1059quickrock.com on the live stream or any one of your digital audio devices, you're going to hear Obsession just went into power rotation here at Quick Rock. So Lion Country is definitely rocking with Wicked. And
Yeah.
we love you guys. So we're talking with Danny from Wicked. My name is Mark the Shark, and you're checking us out here on 1059 Quick Rock, Lion Country's rock station.